busy people getting fit in Fulshear, Texas. Our aim is to help you look better, feel better, and perform better as quickly as possible. I'm your host, Brian White with Blue Eagle Fitness and Nutrition. Welcome. Hey, what's up, Clancy?
What's up, Brian?
We are talking today about 6 ways you are self-medicating and don't even know it.
Oh, I know it. I know.
Yeah. So a couple of these, you're probably going to know it. And if you don't, then we probably have a bigger problem. And you're purposely trying to say that you're trying to convince yourself you're not self-medicating.
Exactly.
And we'll cover those. We'll cover those real quick in the beginning, and then we'll get to the other ways that we self-medicate and may not or don't know it. Okay, sound fair?
Yeah, fair.
Okay, so let's just get started with the first one, and that is we use drugs to self-medicate. And these are drugs that are not prescribed by your doctor. And, if you're buying something off the street or from friends, or you think and in the back of your mind that you should not be taking it, then, yeah, you're self-medicating. You're self-medicating
Could
with
be.
drugs.
Yes.
So
just say no.
meth, cocaine are all bad. I know that and those I mentioned, meth, I know fentanyl is kind of the biggest one that's happening in our country right now. In our society, things that give you energy when you take it are the ones that are easiest to get addicted to, because we're always trying to do more and more and more. So if we're taking any of those drugs, you are self-medicating, and if you don't know that, then you probably do. And if you need help, please come see me. I will be happy to help you, and we will figure out a plan.
Yeah, that's true. I started off laughing, but that is no laughing matter. You are so right. And I think people all around us, in some cases, need help and don't reach out. So I do hope they take us up on that. If someone is struggling, that they would actually take you up on that, what you just said.
Yeah, and
That's
if
a
you know
serious
somebody,
issue.
and that's probably a more likely case. I mean, every 5 minutes someone dies from fentanyl use in America. But those people are also not ones who are likely to be part of our gym and are not likely to be listening to this podcast. So, but you may know if you're listening to this podcast or a part of the gym, you may know somebody who needs help. I'm here to support and to help. If they won't listen to you, but maybe they'll listen to a health professional, I can step in. So drugs is number one, and we'll just cross that one off the list. We're not going to spend too much time about that. Number two, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on, but we saw a big increase during the most stressful time of let's say the most stressful year in our lifetime. What year was that, Clancy? You don't know?
You're talking about COVID?
Yes.
That was not the most stressful year of my lifetime, but I hear what you're saying.
As a country, it was by far the most stressful year that we've had in the past 47 years or so.
Okay.
That's how old I am. Yeah. And we know that because alcohol sales skyrocketed.
Happy birthday, by the way. You just turned 47.
Thank you. I appreciate that. 5 days ago, I turned 47 5 days ago. It was a few years ago where I got so old that I had to do math. Like, what year is this? Let me subtract out 1977. What does that leave me with? I'm 47 years old.
Even though you said it's a non-number.
It's a non-number. No one cares about the number 40. Like 37, 27, those are not real numbers. I don't actually have a birthday again for another 3 years, right? We're talking about
But
alcohol.
alas, we're talking about alcohol. Yes.
We're talking about alcohol. Hey, in your opinion, we are not medical doctors, right? But in your opinion, how much alcohol is too much?
In my opinion?
Yes, in your opinion.
I mean, if you're passed out drunk every day, that's too much.
Okay, passed out drunk. My bar is a little lower than that.
Well, I mean, how much is too much?
Yeah.
I think if we're getting drunk 7 days a week, that's too much.
Yeah, my bar is still lower than that.
Drunk a couple times a week, that's too much.
So, in theory,
you're going to say more than a glass a day? I hope that's not what you're going to say.
I'm going to say
I might be the wrong one for this podcast.
As she grabs her Yeti.
This is water, I promise. I'll show you.
Okay. So, alcohol consumption, ideally, well, we know that from a health perspective, the less you drink, the healthier you are. Okay. We know that. This particular is when are you self-medicating? You are probably if we are drinking 2 or more drinks, so that's 2 glasses of wine, 2 shots of alcohol, 2 beers. If we're drinking that much, more than once a week, then we're are we self-medicating? And I'm not here to tell you whether you are or not. I'm here to tell you about
Yeah.
red flags. Red
Oh,
flags
yeah.
is a red flag pops up when you do something or you recognize something in your life and it goes ding, 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 red flag, red flag, red flag. Is this appropriate? And the answer for you may be yes, this is completely appropriate.
Yeah.
But
That's right. We're not here to judge people or make or shame people, right?
oh, well, we're going to go through a list of 6 things here that I can guarantee hit everyone
Someone's
listening
gonna
to this
feel shame.
podcast.
Someone's gonna be unhappy.
No, we are going to hit 6 things that hit every single person listening to this
That
podcast.
is true. That
Everyone,
is true.
everyone. And so I want to just make a red flag, this ding, ding, ding bell. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I going for my second drink tonight
Mm-hmm.
for the 3rd night in a row? Why is that happening? And if it's because of stress, then is there a way to either reduce my stress or is there a way to better cope with stress?
Yeah.
Right. That's all we're talking about here.
Right.
Okay. And so, yeah, from an alcohol perspective, definitely if we're having more than 2 drinks at a time, and if we're doing that on a regular basis, then we want to challenge ourselves. And are we using it as a self-medicating mechanism?
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the 2 obvious ones that most people are going to recognize that we're going to talk about drugs and alcohol. So now that we've hit those 2, let's go into our next 4 that may surprise people. So we'll go from less surprising to most surprising.
I'm just
Okay,
wondering which one you're gonna pick next.
for the least surprising one, I'm going to go with sugar. Okay. I think people would not be surprised that it is possible and highly likely that people listening to this podcast self-medicate with sugar. Would you agree with that statement?
I would agree. I would. I mean, yes, I would agree with that. If you're, waking up in the middle of the night, going to the refrigerator and eating that bundt cake,
Yes, that is
or if you just
self-medication.
had a bad day at work and you grab the cookies at the coffee bar and you're just stuffing your face mindlessly with sugar, I mean, you're going to crash an hour later and feel like crap. So why are you doing it?
Yeah. Well, they're doing it to self-medicate. They're doing it to
Self
feel better
medicate.
in the moment. That's why they do it. Why do we take a shot of alcohol? To feel better in the moment. Not to
That's
feel better
right.
tomorrow and not for our long-term health, but to feel good in the moment.
Right.
Right? So these are all things that give us that little dopamine hit, including sugar. Right? And
Mm-hmm.
how much sugar should we be eating? I like no one likes my answer, but I own the gym and I'm the one who writes the stuff for the podcast. So we're going to go with my answer, which is you should limit sugar intake, and that sugar intake is more than 30 grams, which is not a lot. You should do that no more than once a week.
Yeah, and we're not talking about self-medicating with the sugar in the spaghetti sauce.
No, no, no. This is eating
This
eating
is like
or 2.
intentional sugar, right?
Yes, this is correct. You bring up a very good point. This is not eating the sugar that they add to any processed foods. This is eating cake, eating donuts, having a bad day, and at work, and middle of the afternoon, you go over to Starbucks. We'll talk about that drug in a minute, but at Starbucks, you also grab the slice of pie or the bundt cake, the lemon bar,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Ouch.
yeah, why are we doing that? It's not for our
Mm-hmm.
health, okay? It's for our
Right.
enjoyment. But why do we need that enjoyment on a Tuesday at 2:30 in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
something we should be using sugar. An appropriate use of sugar is when we are enjoying meals and time together with friends and family, usually over dinner or on the weekends.
Yeah. Right. And we
So we
talked a few podcasts ago about how often to have those sweet treats.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one, that
And
combo?
that's
Yeah.
about how often that, no more than, in an ideal world, we're not having sweet treats any more than a week, and ideally not more than in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like this weekend, Celeste and I are going to go out. We're going to celebrate our birthdays with the family, and I will have dessert. And even when I took a year off of no sugar, I still would eat sugar for these special occasions.
Gotcha.
You got a weird
All
look
right.
on your face when I said I took a year off of eating sugar.
No, I already knew that. You told me that before. I was just thinking, what if I took a year off from sugar? And then I quickly dismissed the idea.
Okay, so we've talked about 3 ways we self-medicate: drugs, which we know; alcohol, which most of us know; and then sugar is the third one that we run to. Out of the next three, which do you think is the least, the one? Not, I don't. I want to go from most to least. So, do you have a guess, a thought on which one most people do next?
Caffeine for sure.
Caffeine. Okay, we'll take caffeine next. So I mentioned going to Starbucks, for that
Ooh.
2:30, we had a bad day, and now we're going to get hopped up on caffeine. And some people would say, be surprised or confused by caffeine, but yes, again, anything that gives us that dope, our minds, our brains, that dopamine hit, that short-term
Mhm.
feel-good sensation, and caffeine is great at giving us that dopamine hit. We should not be consuming more than 140 grams or milligrams of caffeine in a day.
Which
Almost
is how
all,
many cups of
like
coffee?
2 cups of black coffee. Maybe it might
Mhm.
be 180. So let's say 140 to 180, depending on how strong the coffee is. No more than 2 cups. Ideally, those cups of coffee are coming at 10, before 10 in the morning, certainly not
Right.
before noon. Why are we drinking the 400 milligram caffeine in an energy drink that
Yikes.
also has 56 grams of sugar?
Holy
And
mackerel.
you'll notice, by the way, energy drinks, put that in quotes, energy drinks have three, you look on the back and they have kind of three main ingredients. One is caffeine, a lot of it, at least 200, if not 300 and 400 milligrams of caffeine. They also are loaded with sugar. So just in case that caffeine isn't giving you a big enough dopamine hit, the
Ouch.
sugar, which is going to be at least 40 grams of sugar, but probably closer to 50 or 60 grams of sugar. And that, by the way, is 2 to 3 times more than we should be getting in a day, much less in a single serving.
Ouch.
And then they also have a proprietary, put that in quotes, proprietary ingredient list. And that ingredient list is actually just designed to make your heart race, make your skin tingle, make the blood flow to your skin, make it feel like you have energy when you don't. And those can actually lead to very unsafe, unhealthy behaviors, or let's say impacts to like your heart, your arteries, your capillaries getting too big. Anyway, point of this podcast isn't to go into all the downsides of energy drinks, but energy drinks, and then again, if you go to Starbucks, right, they serve more than just black coffee and green tea, right? Again, there are plenty of options there that load you up with sugar, and they're loading you up with caffeine, and that is on purpose because both of those are dopamine hitters, and they're trying to
Mm,
make you feel good in the moment.
And it's $10
And, and it's $10. And
at the
it's ten
minimum.
dollars. It is. It is.
It's ridiculous.
So we have four so far: drugs, alcohol, sugar, and caffeine. And then the next one is very similar to sugar, but it is food. So are we using
Oh,
food,
right.
primarily processed foods? And this is where you can actually self-medicate on apples, on watermelon, on fruit. Fruit is great for self-medicating. I'm
I'm
telling you, people
sorry.
don't believe me because they haven't
Eat
even
the
tried
banana.
it. I'm just
For the
telling you.
love of God, eat the
I'm just
banana.
I'm just telling you. There are very few things that are better than, I mean, a bowl of fruit
Look, I'm
salad,
eating
like that's, even
grapes.
if that's not enough sugar, we can add a little honey, and we're still getting a healthy way to
Oh,
feel
yeah.
better.
Oh, honey, I'm so stressed. Can you grab the watermelon?
I mean, but you're like, I'm just
Said
telling you,
no
give it a
one.
try. Please,
Said no
I'm
one ever.
begging. I'm begging to give it a try.
That's so
Please,
funny.
for the love,
For the
try to
love,
get
just
high off
try it.
watermelon. There's even watermelon sugar high. There's a whole song about it.
Watermelon sugar.
I'm not
I
sure
know,
that's what
right?
it's about, but if I would have written the song, that's exactly what it would have been about. But
That's
yeah, we
awesome.
self-medicate on food, usually processed foods. Anything that comes in
Yeah.
just Oreos would be high on that list.
Chips.
Chips, ice cream. And
Yes.
again, the ice cream, you'd be actually shocked at how little sugar is in ice cream relative, definitely to Coke or soda pop, whatever you call it, or energy
Hmm.
drinks. You'd be absolutely amazed at how little sugar is in ice cream relative to those sugar bombs. Uh, yeah. So
That's
when we talk about
fantastic.
food, we're talking about yeah, in most, comfort foods, right? If it is listed as a
Hmm.
comfort food, if you know it as a comfort food, what's a good comfort food for you? I say I go with
Mm.
lasagna.
I would say chips. I would say the big
Okay.
tortilla chips, like the big ones,
Okay.
the
That is
corn
not a
tortilla
comfort food
chips.
for me. I don't like those big tortilla chips. I
I
now I can do
love them.
barbecue potato, barbecue Lay's potato chips, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't turn food is not my go-to for when I'm stressed. So I don't have a good one that I can think of off the top of my head. But I do like chips and salsa. That's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
That's something like I could definitely find myself like just scooping mindlessly, you know?
Gotcha. Gotcha. And this is when I'm going to come in and say, just get rid of the chips and just eat the salsa and you're fine. You will be
Oh
fine.
yeah. That's true. That's
Okay. So we
true.
talked about drugs, alcohol, sugar, caffeine, food, and then our last one. And our last one's going to be the most surprising, but especially in our gym,
Mm.
it should not be that surprising. It is work. It is people.
Hmm.
We self medicate by work. We enjoy getting that dopamine hit by accomplishing something. People, sure, they have a
Hmm.
list, but it's a to-do list of all the things they have to do, but they love it because they get to cross it off. And that is, to some people, the greatest feeling in the world.
Oh yeah. Yes, we're addicted to the busyness of life. You know, if I'm busy, I must be important and doing something good. Not necessarily, though.
Yeah. And then we end up in this spiral. So we get stressed and we self medicate by working because we enjoy getting stuff done and just being more productive and all those things. But then the more work we do, the more stressed about work we get.
And the more sugar we
And then
eat
we self medicate with donuts.
and wine.
And then yeah, we haven't gotten home yet. I'm just thinking about someone at work who's
Oh,
self medicating with
I was talking
candy
about
or
at work.
donuts, going to Starbucks on the way home, grabbing the iced sugar bomb caffeine
Oh, it's disgusting.
dragonberry, whatever. You get home, fix dinner, eat dinner with the family that you had to wrangle all the kids together, and then we're gonna take a shot of tequila and a glass of wine before bed. I mean, you can laugh all you want at everything I just described, but I guarantee you that a third of the people have listening to this have gone through at least a period of their lives, including me, right?
And me.
Including me,
That's why I'm
where
laughing.
that we did that.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
there was a
100%.
time in my life when I woke up, had 20 ounces of orange juice for breakfast every morning, went to work downtown Houston for lunch, had 44 ounces of Coke, not even ice added to that. Got home, um, had dinner, had a glass of wine, and by glass I mean more of a glass and a half, right? A full glass, right?
I have
And
no
then
idea
after
what you mean
that,
by that.
I had a bowl of ice cream. I mean, this is that is
Yeah,
that is the definition of self medication, by the way. And
that's
that was my
normal.
lifestyle for 5 years,
Hmm.
right? And I thought I was healthy because orange juice is
Orange
I'm
juice.
orange juice, and I knew my Coke wasn't so good, but I was having it with a sandwich. It was fine. I mean, and wine's supposed to be healthy. I was eating it with cheese and chocolate, so I mean those are healthy things too, right? And grapes, we had
At least
grapes.
you paired it correctly.
Yeah, I
Geez,
mean,
you know?
but no, right? I mean, looking back, this is ridiculous. I was literally self-medicating. No, no, no drugs. I was not taking any drugs, but literally I was self-medicating with 5 of the 6 things on this list in the
Oh, yeah.
same day. Like that was my normal day. And that was my normal day, right? I mean, so if you're listening to this and you're struggling with one of these, I would say, okay, that's something to work on. It's something we can work with, right? Um, but I was struggling with 5 out of the 6.
So I guess the question comes up, if I'm struggling with one or five of these things, you know, what do I do?
Yeah. So the first is awareness. You know, those little red flags. If you're
Hi, I'm
struggling with,
Clancy, and I have 5 of these issues on this list.
then
Okay, so
at
I'm
least
aware.
we know. Yeah. Starting with you and being aware, and if you can be aware in the moment, that's when we really start to get better. Right. First of all, awareness when you're taking a step back. Ooh, wait, I'm listening to this, and Brian's just describing my life. Right. Okay. Okay. We got it. We can still get you where you want to go. Right. We can still help you live a longer, happier, healthier life. But the first thing we need to do is recognize that there may be underlying issues that we have that we aren't addressing. You know, whether that's at work, whether that's with our family, whether that's with our significant other. You know, yeah, it's probably a relationship thing. It's probably an insecurity thing. And it's probably a uh, you know, where's my life going kind of thing. I mean, those are the three big buckets that at this point in
Mhm.
life most people fall into. And I say this point, I mean, you're kind of in the same once you've graduated college and you haven't retired yet, you're basically all in the same bucket for I mean, same kind of group of life, whether you're married or have kids or not, or you know, lots of us fall into that. So then what do we do? The first, I would say, um, can we reduce the stress? Can we
That's
reduce the
huge.
stress? Right?
That's a
And
huge
and then
one.
and what are positive ways to medicate? Right? One's work
Sometimes we
out.
need to, sometimes obviously working out is helping reduce stress, but sometimes we need to dump some people out of our life. I'm just saying.
Well, so I was going to go in
Sometimes,
the other direction, which in
sometimes,
another great way is getting rid of people is to surround yourself with positive people, and that's the
like the
other
people at
benefit.
the gym.
And that's the other benefit of going to the gym is
Hmm.
you surround yourself with people who, you know, at least are say and are walking some sort of walk that you want to be walking, right?
Yeah,
You know, in a positive, and they can help you. They can help you. Even if just being around them will help you. That
absolutely.
surround yourself with positive people who live the lifestyle you want to live, and you will end up in that position as well. I promise. I mean, whether you want, it just is that is what happens. That is what happens.
It's true.
Right. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, what can we do? First of all, awareness. Then, you know, we want to, what can we do to reduce the stress? Certainly working out at the
Hmm.
gym, understanding our nutrition. And our nutrition, we may want to start taking over some things or paying attention to things outside of just losing weight. Right. If we
Yeah,
can just
like
adopt some
sleep.
healthy habits, um, and you know, if anyone's listening to this and wants some specific advice, set up a goal review session with me. We're doing those through the end of say the end of January. That's tomorrow. So, but
Hurry up,
I'm
get your
happy
goal
meeting with
in.
anybody at any time. Really, the link
Yeah.
doesn't die. I don't think. So, you know, meet with me. We can figure out a plan. You know, if we need nutrition coaching,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of what the nutrition coaching that Amy and I do isn't necessarily about losing weight. It's about just understanding why are we eating? Why am I eating these donuts? And
Hmm.
okay, I'm stressed. Okay. Is there another way for me to handle this stress without eating the donuts or without going to
Hmm.
Starbucks or whatever? If we can start making those connections, and that's what Amy in particular is so good at, is helping you make those connections, understanding why you're doing what you're doing so
Yeah.
that
And she's so
and
good at
putting
it,
in place other things, other habits for you to do before you get to that point.
I mean, anyone who's listening and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to meet with Amy. She's gonna think I'm a horrible person." She
Oh,
doesn't do that.
no.
She's awesome.
No. For the
She,
record,
she
I am by far the worst person she again, I had 5 of the 6 of these.
but she doesn't even make you feel bad about it. She
No.
has such a way of talking through things that you're like, "Oh, that makes total sense," and you don't feel like you don't feel shamed or like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want her to know." But also one thing I was going to say, Brian, is that a lot of the all of these things actually affect our sleep, which if almost everyone I know, you lose sleep, then you are stressed. It
Yeah,
takes your stress twofold, tenfold. And so a lot of these things we're doing to self-medicate in turn mess up our sleep, which makes the cycle just continue.
just worse and worse.
And it's just, then you're on the merry-go-round.
Yep,
So
yep.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Clancy. I hope you found this useful, and if not you, I hope other people found this useful.
I found it entertaining and useful. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, we
Thanks
will
for
talk to
having
you
me.
next time, Clancy.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
You can get every episode of Busy People Getting Fit wherever you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube. You can also reach us at busypeoplegettingfit.com. Until next time, thank you for listening.